Hey everyone, today we're going to solve LeetCode 443 string compression. It's a medium level problem, but it's a string based problem, but it doesn't have a lot of concept related to problem solving or data structures and algorithms. So, which is why I think it has a very bad like to dislike ratio. And it shouldn't be a medium level problem, could be an easy level problem, but anyways, so it's heavily basic. So, just a heads up, it involves heavy concepts of implementation, not heavy but just some basic implementation. So it's not a very interesting problem, but still I will try my best to make it more clear and intriguing for you. So in this I'm skipping the statement part. If you want to read it, you can. So the thing is, we need to have this so we are given this characters array in which we have a single character, and there are groups. So basically you have a group of A in which the length of the group is 2, and then you have a group of B, the length of the group is 2, and then you have a group of C which has a length of 3. Now you need to convert this vector of characters into a string which is like this: A2, right? So it's the length of the group, and B2 and C3. The only edge case is that the only exception is that, so if you have a group of length 1, then you don't need to print like A1. You can just let it be as it is, like A, just like in this case. So A is 1. So you won't be giving the string as A1. It will just be A. And yeah, so this is a problem, and let's see how we can solve this. So let's take the second example. Not second, actually, first example. So we are given A, B, B, and then you have C 3 times. The indexes are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Yeah, now I will place a pointer I here, and my approach will be to do it in place rather than creating a new string and returning. And the main thing that I have skipped is that you don't need to return the string. You need to return the size of the string which you have made by compressing the vector of characters. Okay. You have a I character. I is basically the pointer which will help you keep the track of. So I is used, pointer used for tracking the first character of a group. Okay. Then you need another variable that is called res, or you can also say result, and this result will be used for in place creation of the compressed string. So for example, I will give you the example in the later part. And you will have, so this is one variable. The second variable that you need is called group length, and this group length will signify what is the length of the group. So for example, I will point on this the first character of the group, that is A, 0th index, and group length will keep on moving forward. And so for example, if group length is at this pointer, right, we have to increment the group length in a way that if the character differs, then we will go back to the res part and create a compress string for this certain group which we have encountered earlier. And if the length is greater than 1, then we will be creating a compressed string. If it is not, then we'll just be moving ahead. So this is how this algorithm is. So let's give a dry run. So for example, at first I will say that I is equal to 0, res is equal to 0, group length is equal to 1, because every group will have at least one character. So the default value of this group length variable is going to be equal to 1, and I is going to be equal to 0, or the first character of the group. So basically this is the first case. Okay. Now I will say that the GL character is pointing is equal to 1. So I write the first character, that is chars of I, if it is equal to chars of I plus group length, the length of the group that I have encountered. And initially it was 1, which means 0 plus 1 is, so we are pointing on this character. Yes, it is equal to, so GL will be incremented. So it was 1, but now it is going to be 2. Now GL is incremented, so GL is group length is 2, and I will say that for a character the group length is 2, which means for a character this group we have 2 characters, but we still need to check again, right? So GL is now incremented to 2. Now I plus GL, which means 2 plus 0, and that is equal to 2. So characters at 0, is it equal to characters at 2? Well, no. This is the second character, and this is B, and this is A. It is not. So when you encounter this, that it is not, then what you will do is you will go to this response part, and first of all you will say chars of res plus plus, right? Which means the first character will be equal to the character, which means chars of I. Okay, so this is how it is done. Now rest will be moved forward, and now you need to have the number of characters that you have find. And for that you will do is, so for example you can have the GL value, you need to convert it into a string, and let's say we have 2, now 2 is converted into this string. Okay, and then you need to insert these characters into the string. So for example we have 2 here, so for example this is A and this is 2, right? It's, we are not creating a separate string for it, we are using this res variable to do those modifications in place of the original string. Okay, well, not the original string but the vector array that we are given, and we'll be doing the in place modification. And when we are done with this, when we are done manipulating all the groups, then the rest is the variable which will signify the last part of the compressed string. Although it's not a compressed string, we are modifying the vectors array, we are modifying the characters array. So it's not a it's not a string, actual string, but the rest will signify how many characters are there in this vector, in this character of vector, in this vector of characters. So the rest will basically tell how many characters are there if it was a string, and it has to be a string, but we are not creating a string in order to save some memory, you know because while doing an in place modification. So res will signify how many characters are there, and we will be returning res after all the groups are sorted out. So this is the implementation. Now time complexity for this one will be equal to order of n, because we have to travel all the elements of this vector. And space complexity will be constant because we are not using any extra space, although we are using couple of variables, and I think just 3 variables, and they are not going to take any extra space, they are just constant space. So this was the problem. Let's start. So at first we will have a I pointer, and then we will have a result pointer that is also equal to 0. Now I will have a while loop. So first of all we need to have this condition that I shouldn't go beyond the out of bounds, and after this condition we need to have a group length variable. Group length is equal to 1. Okay, because every character will be in its own group, and if we only have one character in a group, then the default length of the group has to be equal to 1. Now while plus I, so while I plus group length less than chars dot size and chars of I plus, sorry, the first character is equal to chars of I plus group length. So if this is the case, then group length variable will be incremented. And when we are done with this, when we say that we have encountered a group length, we have like had the most group length, and now we have encountered a new group, then we have to get out of this loop, this while loop, because basically we will be doing the things again, and group length has to be reset to 1. So which means that this while loop will be called. But before that we need to store some result that we have encountered in a previous group that we have analyzed. So chars of res plus plus is equal to chars of I, write the first character of this group. After having this value, now we need to make sure, because of the condition, that if it is only one character in the group, then we don't need to have one after it. But if it is more than one, then we need to have the number. Either it can be 2 or it can be 69, anything, right? So group length, if it is greater than 1, right, this is the condition, then we need to have these characters added up into the character array. And for that, what I will do is I will convert this into a string, this variable, because it's a int variable. This group length is an int variable. And after this, I will say chars of res plus plus is equal to c. And when I'm done with this, at last I need to reset the I, because it has to point on the new group element, the first character of the new group element. So it will be equal to group length, and that's it. Then I'll be returning result. And when we are done with this initiating part, then this while loop will be called again, and in this while loop the group length will be reset to 1, and we will do the same procedure for other groups. So for example, this B group, and then for C group. And in the process, when we are making in place modifications, in this process, when we are making in place modifications, we are storing the res as the pointer of the maximum characters the compressed string could have if we were using a string, but we are using a character array. So one of the same thing, if we check the length by a variable, and then we'll be returning the variable as the answer. So let's submit it. Well, it's not performing ideally good, but I think this is it. Yeah, so this is the problem, and I hope the solution is clear. If you want to check the problem yourself, then the link is in the description. If you want to check the source code, the link will be in the description. Thanks for watching and have a good day.